What up, Raff Leaders? Welcome back to my channel. This is William Street. William Street, Campbellville. That's Vicinjan Road ahead of us. Campi in Guyana, that is the army base. And that's the seawall in the background, Vicinjan Road North. What I want to show you today is this monstrosity. Okay, so we're going to take a walk on David Street and Gordon Street in Kitty. Actually, yes, this is Kitty, not Campbellville. This is Kitty. So, what we're talking about is this building. It's new construction. It's a tall, multi-story building. It's being constructed here. David Street in Kitty, and it's connected to this other 6-story building. I'm going to show you a couple of buildings in this video, and the point of this video is to show you the other side of the rapid construction of new buildings in Guyana. So in previous videos I've shown you that there are a number of new hotels going up in Guyana, the AC. Yes guys, so this is David Street in Kitty. It's tasty dishes. What I want to show you here is a couple of new buildings. These two buildings that are being constructed here on David Street, Kitty, very close to the intersection with Vicinjan Road. Right, so I've showed you a number of videos recently, like I said, of new hotels being constructed in Georgetown, in Guyana. And what I did not include in some of the previous videos that I've made is the amazing pace at which new residential and commercial buildings are being constructed in Guyana. But I wanted to comment on the construction of residential buildings and commercial buildings in Guyana by comparing it to international standards, and also by comparing it to what is being constructed around Georgetown in those hotels. So notice carefully what the frame of this building is made of. It's made of reinforced concrete. So these are concrete pillars with rebar inside the frames. Now the building code in Guyana says that before this building can be constructed, there should be a soil test, right? There has to be a soil test to determine the kind of foundation that is required. And usually in Georgetown, because of a clay soil, a building that is taller than 3 stories requires pile driving. You need to drive piles into the ground to support the foundation and the weight of the building above. So this building is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stories and counting, and it goes all the way from David Street, right from David Street here in Kitty. It extends the entire block to Gordon Street, which is the next street south of David Street. This is another 4-story building that was built probably 20 years ago. But take a look at this, take note of this. So what I've been doing is showing you construction of hotels, King's Hotel in the last video, and before that I showed you the Best Western, and 2 Marriott hotels, AC Marriott at Ogle and the Courtyard Marriott at Timeri. And the thing about those hotels that are being constructed, the multi-story hotels, usually about 6 floors, 6 stories, is that they have a steel frame. So they're made with I-beams, steel beams.
Distance 7 miles. Duration 2 hours, 3 minutes, 53 seconds. Pace 23 minutes, 48 seconds per mile.
So those hotels are being constructed with steel beams, I-beams, that are riveted together or welded together to form the frame. The problem is that these residential buildings, or maybe they are hotels, I don't know. We will eventually know whether these are new hotels. These buildings, although they are similar in height, this is another 6-story building, right? 6 stories from, counting the ground floor, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stories. I don't know if they're going to put another floor above it, but so this is what is happening here. And the problem I have, I'm going to show you before the end of this video, a 3rd building. That one was abandoned for a long time, and somebody is now starting to rebuild it, to continue building it. But here we are, right? This is Gordon Street in Kitty. Here we are looking at construction of new residential buildings, or maybe this is another hotel, I don't know yet, but it's in a residential neighborhood. Right, this is Gordon Street, Kitty. And the point I'm making in this video is that the quality of construction is questionable. Firstly, I question whether in fact they built the right foundation, the correct foundation for this tall structure in this residential neighborhood. In other words, I didn't see pile driving. I didn't see anyone driving piles into the foundation here. And secondly, I question whether whatever they built here is in concrete, right, 100% concrete. The walls are concrete. The frame is reinforced concrete. That's rebar that is molded into concrete pillars. I question whether this kind of building is in fact safe. The problem with these buildings, tall buildings now, referring to tall buildings, 6 and 7 stories, is that they require much more careful engineering than the typical 2-story buildings and wooden houses that are usually constructed in Georgetown. And I'm not so sure, I am not convinced that these buildings meet international standards for safety. We've all heard of buildings collapsing in China, buildings collapsing in Bangladesh and India, and typically they are these kinds of buildings because building with concrete floors and concrete roofs, concrete walls, concrete pillars has 2 problems. One is the weight of the structure is enormous, right? It's compared to a steel frame building with panels, whether it be fabric panels or even concrete panels. Those buildings weigh less than a fully concrete building such as this. So what actually happens if you don't have a proper foundation is the building begins to shift and you see cracks in the walls, and if there's a slight tremor, a slight earth tremor, the building can pancake and come down, collapse on itself. And this is what I'm concerned about, that in the rapid rush to develop